Hey, everybody. Gosh, I am so excited today to introduce you to Mary Mitchell. I'll get into her like official intro here in a little bit. In case you're wondering, Mary's not the one with the beard. Um, that's Robbie. That's Robbie. For those of you who don't know, Mary's the one in the middle. Mary in the middle. It's kind of, was that like a game when you were growing up?
Yeah, pretty much.
If
Yeah.
not, it should have been.
Yeah, it was. That
I
and Mary
think that
Had
was
a Lamb and all that other stuff.
I think that was a bullying game though, Robbie. I don't know if that.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. Don't do that.
Basically, it's where like two large guys just, you know, two of the guys in like sumo suits, and like Mary's like, no. Oh wow, so much childhood trauma just brought up in 15, 20 seconds. Sorry about that, everyone. Anyway, Mary is a member of our START Mastermind. And 2020 has been a really breakthrough year for her and her business. And I say that she's in our START Mastermind because it's important to know that when I joke about stuff like that, that I spend an hour every single week with Mary and our other START members. And we have a very, for lack of a better term, intimate relationship. And that sounds weird. An intimate connection on a very deep level. I know, Mary, I think you would agree. We had a conversation yesterday. Now, what happens in START stays in START. START is like the Vegas of internet marketing. That also doesn't sound right. Wow, I'm on a roll today. We had like a really deep conversation yesterday and some really personal stuff at one of the members' lives, and that's what START is. So just as a side note, if anybody's interested in applying to be in our START Mastermind, just go to mattmcwilliams.com/start. That's where you start and apply, and we'll have a conversation, see if you're a good fit. So Mary helps people build the confidence that they need. That's what we're talking about today, is confidence, so you can stand out and lead your tribe. That's exactly why I asked her to come on and share with you. The title of this is How to Build Confidence and Lead Your Tribe. And did I mention, by the way, that we're giving away a prize today worth $500? If I didn't mention that, well, now to Mary, let us know where you are. I see Eric's on. Eric's I think in Maryland. Could be wrong on that, but I feel like it's Maryland. I can't click on your Facebook profile, and that would make it a lot easier for me to know. But let us know where you're joining us from. We always just love to know that stuff. Now, here's some quick stuff on Mary. Mary is a founder of Mitchell Leadership Services and Consulting. It's woman-owned, if you couldn't tell. She does consulting and coaching. She's based in Phoenix. If I remember correctly, right before we got to know you, you lived in Alaska. Isn't that right?
I did.
Okay, so that's crazy. And anyway, she works with clients across, like, we're talking like, public companies, private companies, nonprofit. She's done work with government. Like, if you name a niche or industry, she's probably worked with it. She's also she's a certified coach and trainer and speaker with the John Maxwell team, certified behavioral analyst, certified transformational life coach. Oh my gosh, like you name it, she has done so much. And I asked her to come on to help with something that I know is lacking in, let me see, 99.9% of the population, and that is confidence. Mary's tagline that we've actually been working on this year, and I love this. She says she specializes in helping leaders lead so they can stand up, stand out, and change their world. And that's her mission, and that's what she's going to do today, is help you guys stand up, stand out, and change their world. So if you've been held back, you just feel like you're lacking in confidence, first of all, I would just say welcome to the club. I don't know if I should welcome you to the club or just, say join the club. It's always weird. People are like, join the club. I don't want to join your club. Your club sucks. Like if you've ever been bullied, join the club. No, I don't want to. So I'd rather not be in that club. But in all seriousness, you're not alone, and Mary's going to help you today. So Mary, and just like I said, just real quick reminder, we got a $500 prize today. I'll share with you guys how to win that today. And a really cool announcement that I'm so tempted to just go ahead and announce before we get in today, but instead I'm just going to tease it and say it's awesome. And I haven't been this excited about something as far as our content goes, probably since last year. You know, we did some pretty big stuff last year. We had some pretty big announcements content wise last year that I was really excited about. So it's been a while since I've been this excited about something that we're going to be putting out on our platform, and Mary's a part of it. So Mary, welcome.
I thank you so much for having me on here. I'm really excited. And I got to put the shameless plug in for START. When I started with START, I lacked confidence. Like I really was unsure of who I was as a business owner, what my purpose was. And Matt has been a trooper. Matt and his team, they have watched me ebb and flow. They watched me move from Alaska, where it's freezing all the time, to this hot, oh, melt your skin off temperatures
Yeah.
and beyond. And the neatest thing is that Matt actually saw me dancing live in front of a stage a year ago this month.
I want to go back to that. That's actually, you know what? I didn't think about this, but that is a really cool starting point. I see Alan Thomas on, and I just want to mention that we actually, Alan is in START. Jim Folsom's on. Jim is in START. Hey guys, but Alan, you know, he's a weight loss coach, and he always tells the story about, you know, one of the reasons he's able to connect with clients is because not too long ago he weighed 304. I think it's 304 pounds, and now he's in the 170s. And when he talks to these usually men, but also women who they've lived with, they're 150 pounds overweight and they've lived that way for a decade, 20 years. They say to him, the reason I chose to be a client of yours is because I relate to you, because you know what it's like. Like, you weren't the guy who's like, yeah, I'm going to be a fitness coach because I've always been fit. Like, no, you were where I am, and you got to where you are. And I can learn from you. And I feel the same is true, Mary. Like, you're speaking from, when you talk about developing confidence, this is not Mary who's just been full of and brimming with confidence since she came out of the womb. You know, this is, you mentioned it. So I want to just go there. Do you mind if do you mind if I kind of tell this story in depth
Oh,
a little
please.
bit?
It's
Okay.
like the highlight of my year.
Okay, cool. So I want to paint the picture. So, and please, everyone understand, I'm not picking on Mary, and Mary knows that. Okay. She's going to be like, yep, that's exactly what it was. So we invite Mary to this conference as our guest. And we had another, one of our START Mastermind members. And by the way, hi, Lucia from Zimbabwe. That's awesome. And so we invited Mary as our guest. We had another START Mastermind member there, Gwen. And we were walking in, and I think we see you before we see Dave Gambrill. I can't remember. Dave Gambrill's been a past guest, and Dave's a good friend of ours, one of our top affiliates. And we saw you, and like, hey, oh my gosh, it's Mary. We're so excited to meet you. And you were kind of like, yeah, I don't know what to do, but whatever. And so then we go over to Dave, and we're talking to Dave, and we're having a great conversation. And I look at my wife, Tara, and I go, where's Mary? Like, it was just like you just disappeared. And I'm like, and she's like, yeah, we're all looking around, and it's like, you're over there sitting by yourself. And I think I came over and I was like, Mary, you can come, like, join this conversation. And the point to that was the beginning, and it was a certain shyness and lack of confidence. And so then we go in, we're at the conference, and the three of us, Mark and Mark, not Robbie yet. Robbie took like a half a day before he would do this. But Taryn, Mark, and I, we're like all in. We've been at this conference before. We've been excited. We've been counting down like for weeks that we're going to go there. So we're all like dancing on our chairs, literally dancing on our chairs. This is also the conference where I notoriously rode JT Numb's piggyback, and we fell into said chairs, and somebody got it on camera, and it's awesome. And I learned I learned if you're going to ride a man piggyback, you need to wear a belt. That was the lesson I learned. That's why we fell, was honestly my pants were falling down. Um, and speaking of Gwen, we were just speaking of you, and I don't want to say speak of the devil because Gwen's not the devil. So, and Gwen saw this transformation in Mary in this like 2 days. So here we are later in the day, we're like, now Robbie's on his chair because he felt peer pressure. I think mostly, and
I didn't need to stand the first couple of days though, because I was the same height as everybody.
Yeah,
on their chairs. So
we're on our chairs, and like I'm talking to Robbie like this. For those who don't know, Robbie is Sasquatch, and so like all the pictures where Robbie and my wife Tara, because my Tara is like 4'11" 3/4. All of the pictures have Robbie's like top of his head cut off and Tara's from here up. So yeah. So we're all dancing, and then there's like a dance party, and we all run up to the front, and it's like, where's Mary? She's okay. Well, she's sitting down. I'm like, no big deal. It was the craziest flipping thing, but less than 30 hours later, I specifically remember the song that we were dancing. It's the Macklemore and whatever the other guy's name is song. I think it's called like the ceiling can't hold us or something. And we're dancing, and like, we're like you are after about the fourth song, like I'm just dripping sweat. We're all sweaty. And I'm like, I look over and I see Mark, and we're like, and I look over and I go, wait, what? it's Mary, like in front of 1,000 people dancing. And that was a microcosm of what was going to come over the next year. It was like the switch flipped, and we went from in START. One of the things we share at the beginning is we share wins, and we share where we're at in our journey. And Mary went from every week, like not having a win, and also like when she would talk, it'd be like, well, I'm still doing the thing I mentioned last time. And then, well, I made a little bit of progress on the thing I did last time. To this year, it has been, all right, my big win. Every week she has a win. And that's a good thing. Like, that's not like, it's not, some people will be like, wow, that's kind of annoying. No, it's not. Like every week it's not, yeah, I read 2 pages of a book and that's my win. No, it's like, well, I got this done, and this done, boom, mic drop, I'm out, And then when it's like, okay, what I'm doing is, hey, I created this entire landing page. Can we look through it? Whereas before, the question would have been, what should be the title of my landing page? And it's like, she's just making massive progress. Okay, so that took me a long time. I realized, guys. And Mary hasn't even, like, she said like 8 words. God bless her.
Yeah, Brian's right. Awesome. Yeah, confidence does take time.
It does.
It definitely takes time to build.
But I think you can speed it up, and that's what you're going to help people do today, Mary. So, I mean, I don't know, what was that experience like for you? I'm kind of curious. The whole from sitting there, like from me asking where the heck is Mary to 30 hours later dancing in front of 1,000 people, and the progress you've made over the last year. What has that been like for you?
That day that happened when I got up on, because that's not something that I do. I am not a public displays of affection type person.
Okay.
I'm not.
So you weren't like it didn't change in you, and you're like, this is easy, I'm going to run up and dance. Like you were kind of doing it.
Yeah, it took everything I had to walk up there, and I don't know, something came over me. Something came over me with 2 of the speakers that had spoken that was really profound, and it made me realize that stop being a dummy. Life is too short to just be the way that you are right now. There is more to life. And so I just said, I'm just going to go dance. I just walked up to that stage, and at first I was really nervous because okay, what are people going to say? You get that whole nervousness thing going.
Yeah.
But I didn't care. I didn't care. And after that, I started realizing that I have a lot within me to give to other people. And it's like, it's better to share my talents and my skills with other people than to just hoard them myself or sit behind the computer all day long. A friend of mine was talking last night. She said, Mary, I can remember when you were just sitting there. Well, I'm working on Kajabi. I'm trying to build my website. Well, I'm trying to build this. And that's all I would do instead of putting myself out there. And so that day, I don't know, the switch, just it flipped, and I've been making massive action, and I'm getting closer and closer to realizing my full dreams. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
super excited. And a
Beautiful.
lot of it has to do with the mentoring that I get from the start. I mean, there's some amazing people that are in the group and listening to everybody else's stories and what their successes, their challenges, and how we work through it. That has helped me
Hmm.
immensely. So
So, question for you, and I don't want to keep harping on this one moment, but I think it's important because it's just, again, it's a microcosm of so many things, and we'll talk
mhm.
about your online business and all that stuff in a moment. When you went up to dance, I'm curious, did you dance because you wanted to dance, or did you dance because it was hard for you?
It was both. It was hard for me, and I wanted to do it because it just looked so fun. Everybody was having so much fun, and everybody was so free.
It's
That's
fun.
what I remember was that
Newsflash,
feeling of
dancing is
freedom.
fun.
It really is. It is. It is.
And
So,
you're in a conference, for all these days, like sitting in a chair, and I mean, like, you guys can tell. I mean, if you guys haven't noticed, like, I'm fidgety, right?
mhm.
Um, I was diagnosed with ADHD as a child, and thankfully, my mom never put me on medication. We just learned to. I think it's my superpower, personally. Robbie disagrees sometimes, but so does everyone else. But it is my superpower if we learn to harness it by having a Robbie, for instance, who can harness that. But like sitting for an hour and a half is really a challenge for me. And that was actually, I believe that was the last, was that the last physical, that was the last in-person conference that we went to. Well, notwithstanding Rich Sheffrin's event in February, because this is only, it's hard to believe this is only
A
like
year
3 months
ago.
before COVID, maybe
Mhm,
3.5 months. Like we should be there like next week,
mhm.
you know? And so it wasn't that long ago. Feels like moons ago because of everything that's happened since then. But like for me to sit that long is a real challenge for me. And like I was constantly like after about 45 minutes, I'm like, dude, you got to wrap up. I got to stand. And so I'd get up and go to the back and wander around. And I'm kind of known, for, I guess, probably because I do it all the time. Like I'm known for walking around conferences barefoot, because I get up and just forget my shoes. And so it's not like a purposeful thing. It's not a brand statement. I just forget my flip flops, or my sentence. So I get up and I walk around barefoot. And then then I have to go to the bathroom and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go put those on. Um, anyway, like so dancing is just it's fun, and it's like get that energy going. But at the same time, I know what that's like. I remember the first time when I stood on my chair and danced at one of these conferences, and I remember the whole like it was like an existential crisis for me. Sitting there, like I'm sitting there, or no, I was standing there clapping, and I'm looking at the chair behind me, like thinking through, okay, number one, is this thing going to support me? Or am I going to fall through? Because that would really, and I'm like, next thing, and I remember having this like debate, and then the song ended, and I was like, well, never got up there, so guess I just won't next time. And yeah, I mean, it's like we go through that stuff, and so we're doing that in our businesses too.
Mhm.
We're doing that in our businesses too. So I'm curious, like in your words, you came back from that experience. I'll call that a mountaintop experience. It's an adrenaline rush. You have to, you finish it and you're just like, not just because of the dancing, but you finish it. What happened over the next, like, what happened between then and like the end of the year last year in your business, in your life that changed?
Well, I will tell you, for me, you call it my mountaintop. I call it my turning point
Hmm.
because it switched the way I saw myself. It switched the way my family saw me. It switched the way I started approaching business and clients. I actually it signed on 2 clients at the very beginning of January. That wouldn't have happened if I had still been that unconfident, sitting in the background, just, being the wallflower, watching everybody else take action and do things. And so it really helped propel me forward. And then, of course, COVID hit. And it's like, wow, this is crazy, but it's allowed me to really get laser focused on what it is that I want to do and how I want to help people. And It got me more in touch with researching about behavior and how we interact as human beings and how we relate to other people. And a lot of it boils down to confidence,
Mm,
right? It's in as a woman, I've always been a large woman, and I'm in the process of getting into shrinking again because I've gone up, I've gone down, and what I have found is that when I'm smaller, I get more visibility, more attention, so to speak. It's like, oh yeah, let's have Mary come on. But when I'm bigger, it's like, who? Mary who? And I've dealt with that my whole life, and now it's like I don't really care because it's about how you position yourself. And what I like to tell people is that before you can lead any organization, you can lead anybody in life, you have to lead yourself first. If you don't lead yourself first, you can't do that with other people. How are they
mm,
going how are they going to look to you to take them to that next level? And having that confidence is the first start of being able to lead yourself.
mm. So you signed those 2 clients in January.
Mhm.
I know it's attributed to this. Sorry, I just saw Jim's comment. uh, okay, that's funny. So if you don't know what Jim's talking about, just read Jim's comment. It's hysterical. Um, all right, so you signed those clients in January, and I know you say it's due to confidence. How did that impact that? I mean, what was it about having more confidence that actually allowed you to be able to sign on 2 clients?
I was actually able to move out of my head because before it was like, well, I'm not good enough,
Mm,
right? People don't want to hear what I have to say. Really? You got the Maston Kips of the world. You've got the John Maxwells of the world. You've got the Seth Godin. Who's going to listen to me? I'm just Mary. And then it was like, yeah, but people will have easier access to me before they get access to Seth and them, right? Especially when it comes to the pocketbook. So I'm like, "Oh, I'm the door in to these bigger paying
yeah.
people." So it just once I was able to look at life from that perspective that, you know what, it doesn't matter because my experience is my experience and what I learned from it will help someone else avoid what I went
So
through.
Mm,
that's my question, Mary. It's like you're a John Maxwell certified coach, right?
So, mhm,
And you are still having that confidence issue.
mhm. Yep.
Tell us about that. Like, how do you balance those two, and like, what's the breakout? How did you switch to that leading yourself?
So what happens so I started my personal growth journey actually in 2012, and I started by reading John's book, 15 Laws of Invaluable Growth. That helped start me moving forward in my life personally because I was more focused on the personal aspect of it. So then when I went forward in life and got better at everything that I was doing, I took that step to get certified under him. Well, then you get that imposter syndrome that happens because you get surrounded by all these people and you see people posting in the Facebook groups, I just landed a $20,000 contract. I just landed this. I
mm,
just closed that. And you're sitting here going, well, why am I not why can't I? Oh, I'm not good enough. They've got more experience. No, they don't. They don't necessarily have more experience than you. They're just leveraging their beliefs, they're leveraging their skills, and they're calling it into action. And so that's how I had to look at it at one point. I actually remember having a conversation with somebody because they were getting frustrated as well. And I said, you know what? Let's just look at it like this. They're speaking into existence what they want. They want that $20,000 contract, so they're speaking it into existence so it's gonna come up. That's their confidence level. They know they're gonna get it, and they're putting it out to the universe. So when I started seeing it from that perspective, I started seeing a shift in how I started looking at everything else myself.
mm.
So
You stopped seeing somebody else living out their dreams and going, "Wow, that must be nice,"
mhm,
and you started believing that you could do it. I mean,
mhm,
it's one of the biggest distinctions I think. I know for we talked about this on Start yesterday. I shared
mhm,
it's not just our members sharing their wins. Like I'll share wins
mhm.
with the members, and they get kind of a little behind the scenes look. And one of the things I shared with them was something that was it was a personal source. Robbie will know what I'm talking about, and you will too, Mary, of course, because I told you yesterday. But it was a personal source of frustration. And then about 5 weeks ago, I wrote out, and every morning I have been saying, we're going to pick up this number of clients, and our goal was to pick up 3 by the end of the year. That was 5 weeks ago. We picked up our third. Robbie, was it Tuesday, Monday, or Tuesday?
Early this week.
We picked up 3 in 5 weeks instead of, by end of year, we picked it up by 2 days into 2 days into November with
Yeah,
more.
felt pretty good to check that off yesterday, on our meeting.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what do we do now? Because and I felt like, because these are very high ticket clients. I felt honestly, Robbie, when we were like, hey, let's get 3, I was kind of like, okay, when we first set that goal, I was like, that
I
sounds
was like, that's a stretch goal,
hard.
which is why we
It's a
didn't,
stretch goal.
we didn't have like a maximum target.
And like I said yesterday, it's like, I don't want to get woo woo, but I put it out there. And here's the cool thing about it. One of them I worked hard for. One of them was somebody that I'd been working on since June, and they finally made the decision to become a client in November. One of them was a referral from another client. Now you can say, well, I would argue that that's kind of halvesies. It's half because we worked our butts off for the other client and did really well, so they referred somebody, and it's half it kind of came to us. The other one, somebody that's been on my list for years. And I did not, literally the email he sent was, we would like to become a client. That was it. Like, okie dokie. Let's talk and see if you're a good fit, of course. That's number one. I think that's so powerful when you put that out. And when you make that distinction between looking, like, we can be gawkers. We can look at these people who have these massive followings, and are getting $25,000 clients, and we can go, man, I can never do that. Or we can look at it and go, okay, what do I got to do? Like, and maybe it's like, maybe for me, the definition is, when you're starting out is not a $25,000 client, but it's a $5,000 client. And you go and you do it, and you win and you win and you win. And, this funny thing starts happening. 5,000 becomes 7,000, becomes 10,000, becomes, and the next thing you know, 3 years from now, you're at that level. The other thing that I thought was interesting, you said, Mary, I want to go there for just a minute. You said 3 things. You asked yourself the question, who am I? Ironically, that is the title of one of my favorite songs right now by Need to Breathe. But of course, anytime I think of the question, who am I think of that Marianne Williamson quote, when she says our greatest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. And we asked, I don't remember the rest of it exactly, but she says, who am I to blank? And then she says, who are you not to? Like, you may have not had the exact same opportunities as somebody, but you can create those opportunities. It just might require a different path. And I would argue that the harder it is to get to something, it's kind of like lifting weights, newsflash, the harder it is to lift the weights, the more muscle you'll build. So I want to kind of hone in on that question. Then I want to comment on 2 other things. But when you were asking that, who am I? Where do you think that comes from in you or most people?
So for me, the who am I, you trace it back to your childhood, literally. What were your experiences growing up? What were your experiences in school? Who were the people that were in your life that made an impact, whether it was a positive or a negative impact? There's one person in my life that, when I was little, really impacted me, and her name was Ms. Vasilikopoulou. She was this Greek woman, absolutely beautiful woman. I'd never seen anybody like her before. She was my Spanish club teacher. And we went on a trip to Puerto Vallarta, and I learned so much from this woman. And she said so many things to me that made me believe in myself. Whereas before, I didn't believe that I was able to do certain things because of the things that I grew up hearing from my adoptive mother. Not a very nice experience. And so that shaped me to think the way that I thought. And so it took me a long time to shed that and pull it apart. But once I took personal responsibility for myself and building myself up, wow, everything changed. everything changed. And you have to take personal responsibility for your actions, for yourself, for your thoughts, and for what you believe.
Yeah. Um, there are voices. You mentioned your teacher. It always reminds me of Les Brown when he talks about Mr. Washington.
Mhm.
When he's brought up to the board, and he had a twin, Wesley, and he says, "No, I'm DT, the dumb twin." And
Yep.
Mr. Washington, he says every time, and like even today, I heard him tell this story recently. Les is in his 70s now, and a good friend of mine works for Les, and he sent me a link to an interview that he just did. I don't know, within the past few weeks. I've heard that story 100 times, maybe 200, because I listen to a lot of Les Brown. And when I heard him tell that story, no different than he's told it the other 150 times I've heard it or whatever, every single time I hear the story, I cry. Like I get
Yeah,
emotional
you
because I can
will.
just picture this
Mhm.
little, I don't know, 8-year-old, 10-year-old being told to never call himself dumb. And that's that dancing moment.
Mhm.
That's that moment where you're told, no, you're supposed to be a part of this conversation, Mary.
Mhm.
Just because it's this person and us doesn't mean you. So no, like, and there's just something about that. And every time I hear that story, I like I become a complete basket case, and my kids get whatever they want for the next 20 minutes. Um, and so I want to answer Eric's question here in a little bit, but I just want to go back to that thing. You said, I'm not good enough. I'm just Mary.
Mhm.
Um, I think I'm just might be the two most dangerous words or the
Mhm.
most dangerous phrase in the English language.
Mhm.
It's something I committed a long time ago, to removing um, removing those words from my language, and my what is the word I'm looking my vocabulary. Um, because I think people can say I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm just a janitor, and so they downplay their purpose to humanity. And I think what I heard in that is, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but what I heard from that is something that I think everybody needs to hear. The reality is that you can impact the world, you can change the world from any position in life, from any career, from any location. But I just live in South Dakota. Because we don't think of like amazing things coming out of South Dakota. That's not where they typically come from, right? But you just do not downplay the impact you can have. And so, just to somebody who's saying those two words to themselves today, what would you say to them? They're saying, I'm just, we'll just fill in the blank with whatever you're saying. I'm just, it is.
I'm just fabulous. You find those words that
Hmm.
speak power. There's power in I am, right? There's a lot of power in I am. And one of the things that one of my mentors had me do starting in 2018, and the first time I did it, I was like, yeah, right. He's like, I want you to sit down and write 100 adjectives, positive things about yourself.
Hmm.
Right. You want me to do what? Okay, here we are in this table. We're all writing stuff down. I think we came up with maybe 15, 20. But then, he allowed everybody to say, okay, everybody start calling out what you said. And so you start writing them down. Then before you know it, you've got 100 plus words. And so
Hmm.
then challenged me to come home from this event and write I am. Every single day I had to write an I am statement. And it started off with the fluff. I am love. I am loved. I am this, I am that, I am beautiful. And then as time went on, and we had to do this for 90 days, as time went on, it got deeper. The meaning got deeper. Like, I am allowed to say no. I am grateful for who I have in my life. I am worthy of happiness and love. It starts to change how you
Hmm.
see yourself. And as you're doing this exercise every day for 90 days, everything about you changes. Everything about how you see things changes. And that's one of the things that's part of my affirmation every day. Every day I tell myself something positive about myself. Um, because if I don't focus on the positive, it's easy. We're all humans. It's easy to fall into that trap of,
Yeah.
well, I'm just this. And you're not just that. You're an amazing human being, but people have to accept responsibility for their actions. They have to accept responsibility for their consequences. And so as your listeners, are looking to build their tribes, how do you want your tribe to grow? Are you exhibiting those behaviors of I am confident, I'm brilliant. Like I'll tell people in a heartbeat, yeah, I'm fabulous. I am fabulous, I am brilliant because I am and I know I am. And some people will look at that and go, "Oh, well, you're full of yourself." Well,
Yeah.
you might think that. You might think that, but me, I know I'm fabulous. I know I'm good at what I do, and that's what I tell people to know. I know I'm good at what I do. I might not do it the way you do it. I might not get to 13 the way you get to 13, but I guarantee you I'm gonna get to 13 some kind of way.
Yeah. I think that's, again, it goes back to, like you said, the conditioning
Mhm.
that we have growing up. Oh, wow, you're so full of yourself. Would you rather me think poorly of myself? Like, what would make you
Exactly.
happy? I talked about, I think I wrote a blog post about this like 8 years ago. Literally, I think it was probably one of the first 10 blog posts I ever wrote. When I was in eighth grade social studies, and just to be clear, I remember most of my teachers' names. I don't remember this one's name. She was that inconsequential in my life that I don't even remember her name. But I'll never forget something that she said about me. And that was at the year end, or the year end awards. You had like most studious and this or that. And social studies was my best subject. Like Robbie knows this. Like, I know probably almost all but like two world capitals. And I mean, I'm a history buff. I spend at least an hour a day listening to historical stuff or studying history. Like I just love it, right? So it's my best subject. And I'm thinking, even at age 13, like I'm gonna get me something good. I'm gonna get me a good award here, like he's gonna get like most dedicated or something, right? I got the Murphy's Law Award
Oh, snap.
because two whole times in the year, I literally had this was right when we were starting to use computers, and we had the little floppy disk, if anybody can remember those. I know we all can, but I'm saying, some of you young crazy people,
Whippersnappers.
whippersnappers. I literally brought the floppy disk to school because we didn't have a printer at home. Who had a printer at home, right? Those things were like $1,000 and took up like a small classroom back then. I brought the floppy disk and it literally would not take. So that was one thing. And this is, a school year is like 180 days. The second thing was I had spilled, I think it was like a Coke on my paper. Two little things that happened that quote unquote ruined my academic career in the social studies class. And I warranted getting the Murphy's Law Award. And here's the weird thing. It stuck with me for about 15 years. I believed that when things were going wrong, it was because the universe was against me.
It's
And
funny
I'm
that
like,
you say that.
that sucks.
Yep. Yep, that's funny that you say that because when I was at work and having the challenges that I had, I always made the comment, "Well, it's because I'm married. It's
Oh,
because I'm
wow.
married. I'm
Not
not
even
allowed to do
because you're in
that
a
because I'm
category
married."
or it's not because of, size or color or gender or location. You're
Yep,
literally identifying it back then as you as the individual.
yep. It's because I'm married. Yep,
Wow.
yep. That's where my mindset was many,
Wow.
many, many years ago.
So we want to help some people overcome that. There's two things I want to say something that I want to ask you something. I had to look this up. I thought there's this quote that was coming to mind that you were talking as you were talking about by Mother Teresa. And we're going back to the I'm just real quick. Mother Teresa was just a nun. Name another famous nun. Anyone? Not you, Robbie. You're Catholic. You can probably name a few. But if you're a non-Catholic, name a famous nun not named Mother Teresa. Good luck, right? I mean, even you, Robbie. I mean, how many famous nuns are there? What, like 5?
Not from this era.
Okay, yeah. So name a famous nun. Yeah, they're all like from the 1400s, right? And there's just not many. She's a nun, just a nun, just from Albania. For those of you who don't know, Albania is literally classified as a third world country in Eastern Europe. I think it still might be run by the Communist Party, even. Like, I think they're elected, or something like that, or they're socialist or something, right? It's in a part of the world that's completely forgotten by the developed world. Again, like, just nobody thinks of it. She never saw her role as just anything. And so I had to look this up because I knew I'd heard this quote. She said, "By blood, I am Albanian. By citizenship, an Indian. By faith, I am a Catholic. As to my calling, I belong to the world." I belong to the world, like to the world. Like she was not thinking small. She was not thinking I'm just a nun from some third world country. And she went on, I mean, arguably one of the most famous people of all time. Like she's in almost, I'd probably say she's in 1/3 of, if you ask people, like, name 3 people you want to have dinner with, living or dead, Mother Teresa probably makes like 1/4 of those lists. That's how famous she is. Like, we're talking like Martin Luther King, George Washington, Mother Teresa, like we're talking about levels. She was a nun from Albania who went to India. And so, like, there's that. So then you talked about declarations, affirmations, and you talked about these things. So I want to ask you, if somebody is saying, okay, I believe that could be important. I want to do 90 days. I want to say nice things about myself and change my mindset and develop confidence. Is there something, I'm putting the ball up on a tee for you here, Mary, but is there some sort of a cheat sheet or something people can get to, like, we may or may not have discussed this in START yesterday. Is there a cheat sheet people can get that'll help them to do these declarations?
I actually have a 35 daily affirmations to boost confidence sheet that I've made available to your audience.
Awesome.
So it will help them to really start. The link, I believe we're going to put the link in the thing. It's marydenise.com.
Awesome.
Confidence-booster.
Yeah. Is it
really simple?
Booster?
Boost. Confidence-boost.
Yep. So you'll see it on your screen. Robbie will drop that in the chat for you guys. Jennifer, good luck at your dental appointment. Come back and watch this. We'll have the replay here, soon, and maybe you can even listen to it on your way back from the dentist. Hopefully, you're not getting put under, because that'd be really trippy to listen to while you're still high on that stuff. And confidence is awesome, man. I want to answer Eric's question earlier. This is a good one. I want to know your thoughts on this, Mary. What happens when you can't even get a small win? Do you go for a smaller win or stick with the size you've been going for?
That's a really good question. When you can't get a small win, and I'm thinking back to what I used to do when I felt like I couldn't get a win. And there were many times in START that I would report, I don't have a win. And I would just sit there and think about it. What do I have? But what you do have to do is you have to look at your strong points, and you have to look at something that you do well, because I guarantee you do something right every day. There is something right that happens, whether it's you get up and you put your shoes on the right feet, or there's look at them kids, little toddlers.
I've nailed that for 32 straight years.
They can't always put their shoes on right. I know I've had occasion, if I cross my legs and take my shoes off, I'll go to put my slippers back on and they're on the wrong feet because I wasn't paying attention. But,
yeah.
Embarrassing moment there, but whatever. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to look at what is going right. There is always something that is going right. You woke up, right? You woke up. That right there is the best thing that could happen to you all day long, is you woke up.
I had a mortician friend who used to tell us that all the time. We'd always ask, "Hey, how's it going?" And he's like, "Well, I'm on this side of the grass. Things are great."
Yep, pretty much.
I think of I think of a conversation. I don't know if Alan's still on. Alan, if you're still on, let us know. I think of a conversation I had with him 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he's always kind of he makes fun of me in a fun way uh, on my journey to develop more personal confidence in my body, which really, let's just say it's my weight loss journey.
Mhm.
One of the things that I've done is I have so many data points. Like there's what the scale says, there's what my measurements are, there's how far did I run and how fast, there's how many reps, how many push-ups can I do, how many body weight squats can I do in 45 minutes. Like there's all these different data points. Did I eat a late night snack or not? Like that's a data point. Did I eat any sugar yesterday? That's a data point. And I told him what I discovered that I thought was powerful for his clients. I think this will answer your question, Eric, and totally it piggybacks on what you've said, Mary. Is I can always find a win. I might wake up tomorrow and weigh half a pound more than I do today, and between all of us, sometimes that's just sodium. Like it could just be anything. There's no rhyme or reason. It doesn't mean you screwed up yesterday. It might mean you screwed up 3 days ago, but not yesterday. And like, so I lost that one thing, but I did 5 more push-ups than I've ever done in an hour today.
Mhm.
Or I didn't eat last night. I didn't have a late night snack. I didn't have any sugar yesterday. And I was telling him that I can always find a win. I can always find something when I have these multiple things. And so what I would say to Eric is exactly what Mary said. It's like the win is like, I'm going to just use in our world. The win is I sent 10 emails today to prospective affiliates. That's all I did. I sent 10 emails. I didn't hear yes from any of them. I didn't ever even schedule a phone call with any of them. I didn't even hear back from any of them, but I found 10 people and I emailed them. And what I know about it is if you do that every day for 30 days, you're going to start getting the phone calls. You're going to start getting the yeses. You're going to start hearing back from them. And Robbie has really helped me to understand what we call process goals, not results goals. So one of our process goals is reach out to this many people. And if we do it, we celebrate, And so Eric, I would just say, find ways to create that momentum by, I don't know what it is. It could be that I'm going to record if you do a daily podcast and you're just struggling to do it, then your win would be you recorded all of next week's podcast by the end of the week, this week. That's a win. That's a win. And then celebrate that win and keep going from there. Anything you would add to that, Mary?
No, no, that was perfect. That was perfectly stated.
So guys, I just want to say, get that the declaration.
I'll put it on the screen for you.
My confidence is shot right now. No, I'm just kidding. I can speak clearly. I speak clearly. Okay, good. We're good now. No, I would grab that. Grab the confidence boost, guys. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's not magic. It's not woo-woo. You're not like the universe isn't going to like magically plop down confidence on you on Tuesday morning. That's not the way this works, but it works. It might take you 42 days, it might take you 90, it might take you 12. I don't know, but it works. So grab it from her. She's living proof.
And you have to believe in it. Okay. You have to believe in it. Don't just pick it up and read it and be like, I am authentic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, you're so genuine, Mary.
I felt the authenticity coming out of me when I said I am authentic. But if I'm like, you know what, I am so authentic and I'm going to make a difference today, I'm going to walk out this door and I'm going to be authentic and I'm going to make a difference. It's kind of like, whenever I'm getting ready to speak, I get nervous, right? It's human nature. You get nervous. And then I have to remember, just be authentic. Be your authentic self. And everything will be fine.
Yeah. Say Napoleon Hill says this, say it with emotion.
Yes.
even if you don't believe it the very first time, say it with emotion. There's a reason why I do my morning declarations in the basement. Everybody's 2 floors up. It's kind of soundproof down here, you know. I can come down here and I can say my declarations with emotion and believe them, not on the main level going, I am confident. I am disciplined and focused. You know, like that I can't get into it. Like it's reading a script. You know, it's reading somebody else's book, but if I say them, and you know, there are like little tips I've learned over the years. Like I'll touch myself, you know, sometimes if I'm really into it, you know, I start getting Tarzan on it. Um, there are you know, I think it's Amy Cuddy, you know, the body language expert. You know, she talks about, like, you know, the power pose, and there's something to that. You know, they have done studies on this stuff that if you're in a conference room waiting to be interviewed, and you know, you have to be careful about this because you can't get caught doing it. But if you get, one of the advantages to walk in early enough, go in, lean back in the chair, put your feet up on the table for 30 seconds, and tell me when the person comes in to interview if you don't have more confidence. Why? Because you just acted like you own the place. You know, that job is yours. You're interviewing them about whether or not you're going to take the job that they already have reserved for you, versus, God, oh, hope I don't say something stupid, and I hope I, you know. And most people sit there like this, or maybe on their phone, or they sit there going like this. I'm like, no. I did catch somebody doing that once. Walked in on an interview, they had their feet up on the table. You know what they were doing 2 years later? Sales manager of our company. That's where I learned that from, just as an FYI. So Mary, I want to just go back to you real quick and talk to everyone. What have been some of the important things that you have done in addition to declarations, actual strategies that you've used to develop confidence, particularly when, you know, it could be that day, it could be that week, you had a rough week, a rough day, whatever. You didn't feel confident, but you still came through it and finished with more confidence than you started with. What are some of the things that you've done intentionally?
One of the things that has helped me is having a mentor, like surrounding myself with like-minded people, or people that are just one level higher than I am in my thinking. Because when you do that, you're able to express yourself, and that person's able to say, uh-huh, and that's a bunch of bull. Let's try that again. And so you work through it, and before, I was not with people that were at my same level of thinking or a level above. And so what would I do? I'd go to someone else, and what would they tell? Oh, girl, yeah, please. I don't know why you're doing all that. There's no point in it.
Oh,
You're
wow.
never going to make money. So you have to switch who you hang out with, and get a mentor that's going to be there to help you, that has that belief for you. Okay? Because when someone believes in your vision, in your dream, it makes it easier for you to believe it in yourself. So that's the biggest thing that I've done is have a mentor, be a part of the mastermind with Start. I will always shamelessly plug it. Nat didn't
I'll
ask
let
me to
you,
say
just for
this.
the record. I mean,
He didn't pay me or say, "Hey, Mary, I need you to really talk about this." But the
no.
reality is, the growth that I have had as a result of being in Start has been phenomenal, and it has allowed me to be a part of other masterminds as well, where I'm really surrounding myself. My inner circle has become a very qualitative inner circle. The other thing that I do is I actually started exercising. I found that if I can just spend that 30 minutes walking when my knee decides it doesn't want to act up, I can get so clear on what it is that I'm wanting to do, or if I'm having any kind of a stress or moment, I can walk it off.
Hmm.
So those are two of the biggest things that I think all business owners, anybody that's trying to build a business, it's important for you to have someone that you can talk to, and it's important for you to exercise to get rid of some of that stress and that energy, because it'll kill you. It really
Yeah,
will.
that's so. I mean, that has made one of the biggest differences in my life. Just the energy level that I have. I mean, when I used to really hit a wall about 3 o'clock,
Mhm.
I mean, you guys go watch our Facebook lives from, we'll just say, May of last year. When, I mean, it looks like every time right before we went live, I got stung by a hive of bees, you know. And I'm going to tell you guys, when I would finish those, I was just, and I didn't want to do anything. And I would get almost nothing done. Like,
Mhm.
guys, all I'm doing, I'm standing here. I mean, like my watch probably says I've taken like 3 steps because I moved my arm a few times, you know. I am not doing that much, but like I just the energy level have. I'm going to finish this, and in 15 minutes after we're off here, I've got an hour-long client call. I'm going to finish that, go write some email copy, create some stuff, and then you know what? I'm going to go take a 5-minute break, and I'm going to have all the energy in the world for our puppy, our kids, and my wife until I hit the bed tonight.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's like there is no wall anymore. Like it's not even I'm not even pushing through the wall. There just is no wall because of exercise. You said something in there, but you didn't say it. You didn't go there. I'm going to put words in your mouth. You talked about the person who's like, oh yeah, you know, like you tell them what's wrong in your world, and instead of okay, let's fix that. We had that on Start yesterday with one of our members, who will know, you know, he'll know I'm talking about him. We had a problem, and I mean, immediately it was just like, boom, here, let's do this solution. Not, well, you know, that really sucks. Yep, the man's got you down. Can't do anything with the economy these days. There's something you didn't say, but I really think you said. I'm going to add a third thing. So you said get a mentor, exercise. Third, find new friends.
Yes.
I'm out.
Absolutely. That is exactly what I was saying without saying it.
I don't care if
People don't
it's
like
your
to hear
cousin.
that.
I don't
Like,
care if you've been friends with them for 20 years. If they're not lifting you up, they don't have to be the most motivation. They don't have to be a motivational speaker to lift you up.
Mhm.
They just have to not drag you down. How about that? Maybe that's the standard even, is they just need to not drag you down. And I mean, it can be hard. I get it. But you know, there's a reason why there are certain people that I used to hang out with that I don't hang out with anymore. I declined their Facebook friend request. And the truth is, I don't really care what they think of that. And I get that that's hard. Oh, but then they're my family. So just spend less time with them.
Mhm.
Go to Thanksgiving, go to Christmas. Don't invite them over for dinner in between. Like just don't hang out
You
with
know,
them.
one of the things that people need to understand is that when family or friends come around and they're doing that negativity on you, no is a complete sentence. It's okay to just say no and walk away. You
Yeah.
don't owe anybody an explanation. If they tell you your dream's not worth living, say, all right, peace. And you keep on moving. And no is a complete sentence. You don't have to let anybody drag you down.
So we'll keep this conversation going for a few minutes, Mary. And I don't know, I have like a million questions for you, and I'm sure everybody else does. So if anyone has any questions, drop them in the chat real quick, as I got to get them in there so I can ask those before we wrap up. Before we get to kind of our last little bit, though, I've been meaning to say this for like 15 minutes, but then you've been dropping so much stuff that I can't even. I just want to keep talking about it, and so what a good problem to have. So you know, here's the thing: we could probably talk for about 8 hours all about confidence, all about this stuff. But instead of doing that, we're going to do something different. We have a new, as I said at the beginning, there's something I'm so excited about because I haven't been this excited about something that we've put out content wise in forever. Oh my gosh, I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna say it. We have a
Just say,
new,
come on.
what's that?
I said, get it out there. Come on.
I know, right?
Okay, so we have a new podcast segment starting soon called the Mindset Minute with Mary Mitchell. Now you may be thinking that's an awesome name, and yes, it is. Now, if you don't have an alliterative name like Mary Mitchell or Matt McWilliams, you can't quite have an as awesome a name for a podcast segment as that. But no, this is going to be amazing, guys. It's going to be a part of the podcast regularly, at least once a month. I haven't told Mary this, but probably a little bit more frequently. And she's like, yeah, that's awesome. So to celebrate kicking it off, Mary is offering a free 30-minute coaching call to one lucky winner. Now, guys, this is worth $500. That's not like a made up number. Okay. That's literally what it's worth. $500 coaching call to celebrate the kickoff of the Mindset Minute with Mary Mitchell. You'll see this in the podcast starting within the next couple of episodes. And we're just it'll be a part of the podcast that we'll put in, be mindset, confidence, things that you need as an entrepreneur, somebody doing a side hustle. It'll be applying all of your life. Like, this isn't just like, okay, this has to be about your online business. I'm giving Mary free reign. So if it's about the confidence to exercise more, cool. The confidence in relationships, like, you will be able to apply this stuff to your marriage, to your dating, to raising your kids, to your, if you're in school, to your school, to dealing with people. I mean, like, everything. So to win that coaching call with Mary, again, you're going to get to have a one-on-one with her, somebody who's been through where you're at, come out on the other side and is rocking it. There's nobody better to learn from on this than Mary. Just subscribe to the podcast.
Yes.
Just look it up wherever you listen to podcasts. I don't care if it's Spotify, iTunes, or podcasts, Apple Podcasts. What's some of the other one? TuneIn, which my son always calls the Tuna app. He's like, "Are you listening to Tuna?" Nope. Just subscribe to the podcast. If you've already subscribed, you are awesome. You can still win. Just go subscribe, take a quick picture, drop it in, say I subscribed, and show me a picture that you're subscribed to the podcast. You got to write I subscribed. Okay. You can't write like different words and add any. Robbie, I don't know how this all works, the magic. I think it's just if you have the words I subscribed anywhere.
They typed I subscribed.
Okay. So it can say I subscribed and I like Nickelback. Then it won't work because you like Nickelback. You are completely removed from the drawing. That's my one rule. Just letting you know that you're entered. You'll get a message, a DM in Facebook letting you know that you're entered. So you have until Sunday night. For all you replay watchers, you're watching this replay, like, I can't. Oh, that sucks. Well, yes, you can. Monday morning, we'll pick a winner. So we're just going to take all the people who entered, who typed I subscribed to the podcast, and we're going to take them, enter them into a drawing. We use random.org. That's our favorite little drawing thing. We use random.org. We'll pick a winner, and you'll win a free 30-minute coaching call worth $500 with Mary. All I know is that when you get this coaching call, you're going to come out on the other side of it, like probably dancing on chairs, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So the podcast name, as Jim asked, is on the screen. If you just type in if you type in my name, you might find a bunch of other episodes. I've been on a lot of podcasts. Type in the affiliate guy. I guarantee you there is no other affiliate guy. That's why I'm the affiliate guy. So type that in, you'll find the podcast. I love what Gwen says. Sometimes you just need to find new family. Yeah, family is more than blood, people. Jim said, Charlie Tremendous Jones had me shouting, boy, I'm excited 3 times each morning. It helps. I love that. I love what Jim said about Mother Teresa real quick. Last year in my daughter's senior high school English class, most of them thought Mother Teresa was the lady that writes quotes. So sad, but we did laugh. Oh, I love that. So guys, go get that declarations, the confidence boost cheat sheet as well. Robbie, if you can just drop that link one more time so everybody can grab that. I want to finish up with one thing, Mary. You've taken not only massive action in terms of results and massive action just in terms of output, but you've taken massive action in terms of action, literally just action through all of this stuff that is 2020. The question, I'm struggling to figure out exactly the question I want to ask, but I'm you work from home and you work alone. You're not like in a bustling office or anything.
Well, if you count the 6-year-old, the 4-year-old, and the 2-year-old.
Okay. So I guess here's the question. How do you keep your confidence going through the day? Like, I want to get really nitty gritty. We've talked about kind of in general and things like that, but you're sitting there, you're in front of the computer, you're working on stuff, and we have the ebb and flow. How do you keep your confidence up just in the moment during the day? Are there any strategies you've employed?
I keep the eye I keep my eye on the main prize, which for me is I want to establish 500 whole life communities by 2026.
Hmm. What is that?
A whole life community is a community where someone who has experienced PTSD, homelessness, some kind of a catastrophe like an earthquake, flood, whatever, they lose everything, right? And they have to start over. They get to go into these whole life communities where they will receive shelter, food, medical care, life skills training, entrepreneur training, whatever it is that they need to get themselves built back up. They get to live there at no cost to them. They get supported. They get to save. They
Hmm.
get taught how to save money, how to build their own businesses. And at the end of a year, they get to leave and they get to start their life and start fulfilling the dreams that they want to fulfill. That
Hmm.
is my vision. That is my mission. And if I allow myself to get detracted from that and fall for that pity party, then that vision will never come true.
Hmm.
And so I just remember that. I remember why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want to help the larger masses. I want to change my communities.
Hmm. Definitely makes it easier when you're fighting with a tech thing
Mhm.
or you're doing anything. When something goes wrong, it's just an obstacle. It's not a not a stopping point. And I think that's the biggest thing I see is too many people find obstacles to be stopping points, not
Mhm.
something to be pushed to the side or broken through. And the cool thing is, and I know I have found this. I mentioned this the other day. I can never remember if I posted it to Facebook or if I just like told Robbie and Mark and Alan and another friend that I write to almost daily about what's going on with like the physical side of me. But I said something about it was about running, and I yeah, it was. I did post this to Facebook. My treadmill broke, and my treadmill, told me how far I've run and how much time I'd run, and it was like for me the 4 minute mile was an 8 minute mile, because I'm not Roger Bannister, and and it was like I knew it wasn't ever going to happen. Like I couldn't do it, but I set this goal. I wanted to run 5 miles in 40 minutes. That was my big thing. When my treadmill broke, I didn't know how far I'd run. All I knew was how all I knew was I could go faster or slower. And one day I just kept pressing the up button. I'm like, I'm not going fast enough. I feel like I'm running in place. This is ridiculous. And I know intellectually that an 8 minute mile is 7.5 miles per hour for 8 minutes. That then you go a mile. Like I know that intellectually. But what wasn't thinking about was that I started off at like 7, and by the end I was going 7.8, and I flipped, and I'd start. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I went through and and then at the end it'll tell me, and I was like, holy crap. I ran 4 miles in it was like 31 minutes and 56 seconds. I was like, that's faster than an 8 minute mile. If I can do it for 4 miles, all I gotta do is one more mile. Like I know all of a sudden, I just knew I could do it. I went from thinking maybe I'll get it by the end of the year, but probably not because I'm too slow. I can't do that. I didn't think I never would. I just thought it'd be like a 4 or 5 month process. I was like, oh, and I remember I literally wrote to them. I just said, on Saturday, I'm going to run 5 miles in less than 40 minutes. It's going to happen. I'm not going to try to. It's just going to happen. And I think that's the key is when you just sometimes there's just these mythical things that are in your way. But when you keep your eye on the bigger thing, it's amazing how many of those barriers can fall. So whatever your bigger thing is, keep your eye on it. If it's to build a house, if it's to put your kids in private school, if it's to leave a crappy job, if it's to help, 100,000 people make their first dollar online, that's ours because I know what that can do for people. Or Mary to build, to have 500 whole life communities. Um, that frustration with the Kajabi landing page doesn't stand a chance against that kind of purpose. She'll get through it come hell or high water. So, Mary, this has been amazing. Like watching your journey has been, it's been awesome. I have had so much stinking fun seeing what you've done and seeing the transformation in you that that it gives energy to me, and so selfishly it gives energy to me, so thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me be part of the START.
Yeah. So again, guys, real quick as we wrap up, Mary's a million times better at selling START than I am. First of all, go get her confidence boost. Go check that out. The URL is on the screen. If you're interested in applying for our START Mastermind, go to mattmcwilliams.com/start. And lastly, I'm totally breaking all my marketing rules. I'm giving you 3 calls to action. Who does that? That's terrible marketing. But do all 3. I know I'm not going to ask you to do 3 things on every one of these. The third thing, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Let us know. Just type in the comments, say, I subscribe, include a quick screenshot, or don't include a screenshot. I'll believe you. Type I subscribe, and you'll get a message telling you that you're entered, and then we will draw a random winner Monday morning. So you have through Sunday night. Don't type I subscribed at like 4:30 in the morning on Monday. You're not going to be entered. So do it before Sunday night, Sunday at midnight, or Sunday at midnight Pacific time, and we'll get you in that drawing. Mary, everyone, thank you so much. Good to see everyone. Sort of, I see your faces over there. You're like tiny little avatar. Jim, I'm glad you updated your avatar. It finally looks like you do now with the beard. Thank you. Marcia, glad you could join. Alan and Gwen, good to see you guys. Jennifer, hope your dental appointment goes well. Eric, thanks for being on. Blaine, Bob, all of you. Brian, I saw Brian Arnold on. That's awesome, bud. I'll be on his podcast soon, actually. I think we're maybe recording it tomorrow. So, all right, everyone, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.